Your fitness business money map. Your map, it's a path like every other map from where you are to where you want to be. It's kind of like a treasure map. That big X marks the spot at the end. But most of us don't really understand how to go from where we are to where we want to be. Most of us may have this vision about what success looks like, but we've not been to that place. So we don't know how to get there. Having coached business owners for 18 years, having owned 37 businesses in and around the fitness industry, having kind of done a little bit of everything, I've seen a bunch of people do really well. And I've distilled this down to a map that you can follow to get to where you're trying to go. And I am going to tell you that I'm covering a lot of ground on this. When I did this talk at Perform Better, I had about 30 minutes more than we have here. So I basically treated it like a coaching session, let people ask questions throughout, because I have to kind of accelerate the pace a little bit. Feel free to post questions in the chat, post them in comments in the Facebook group, and we will answer them as we go. And if you'd like a copy of this, or if you'd like to set up a time to talk with somebody on our team about crafting your own map, just put map in the comments and we will figure out a way to help you optimize this map to fit your own situation and circumstances. Really, any map here for us to build a successful business, everything that you do, it has to be built on a solid foundation. And you're going to see the way that I think of business, it very much mimics how you would train coaching clients. You know, we talk a lot about the fundamentals, we design a plan, we follow the plan, we course correct as we go. But starting with foundation, we have to set some production standards, because obviously we're trying to produce outcomes. We have to have the tools that we need to execute this, right? Whether we're online or offline, we need kind of our virtual gym. We need a way to manage the business. We have to design our day. So we have to own our time, because I promise you, if you don't take control of your time, somebody else will be glad to take control of it for you. And we have to develop our attraction assets. This is what I consider the foundation. A lot of people want to jump ahead to tactics, Facebook ads or funnels or something like that. But if you don't have this stuff in place, you're just going to create a mess. So let's start with this. Our production standards. I'm going to give you the simplest formula going, and you will be able to adapt it over time. But this is where I would recommend most people start. The 8421 formula, and it's basically for every one client that you want to have in your business, whether it's group training business, one-on-one business, online, offline, doesn't matter. We probably need what I call conversion opportunities. We probably need 2 of them, whether you call that a success session, an assessment, a consult. We need an opportunity to sit down with 2 people to get 1 client. Now, you may say, I close 90% of my people. You know, that may be true, but at scale, nobody closes 90% of people if they're getting as many people as they probably want. So what we're looking at is, assume we need 2 conversion opportunities for every 1 client, but we need 4, we probably need 4 what I call prospects, people to indicate an interest in what we have to offer to get to our 2 conversion opportunities. If you've been part of my email list and you see me send out invitations for our programs, or you see the little PS at the bottom, the number of people who reply to that, those are what I would call prospects. They're people who said, I'm raising my hand and I'm interested in learning more about this. And of those, if there are 4, 2 of them would become conversion opportunities. They would be on a phone call where we could say, hey, is this a good fit? Now, for those 4 prospects, we probably need 8 leads. We probably need 8 people to come into our pipeline. And that may mean 8 people to download your lead magnet, 8 people to be introduced to you, join your Facebook group, whatever else. But people having a general interest in the things that you're talking about aren't necessarily prospects at the moment, right? They're what I would call potential prospects, because for somebody to be a prospect, the timing has to probably be pretty good. The desire has to be heightened. So 8, 4, 2, 1. So basically for every one client, we probably need at least 8 leads. Now, is this a perfect formula? Not at all, because depending on where you source your leads, you may need more, you may need less. You may need, if all you're doing is getting referrals, then you probably need fewer than 8. But if you're running a lead magnet for a recipe guide, but you're trying to get clients to join an exercise-based program, then you probably need more than 8, because somebody talking about food isn't necessarily exercise oriented, right? So the numbers are going to kind of flux, but this is a good starting point. And then as you gather data, you can adapt. But the whole idea is we want to have standards so that we know, hey, if I want to get one new client this week, then it means I probably need to add 8 new leads to the pipeline. I probably need to get 4 people to raise their hand. I probably need to be on 2 consultation sales calls, that sort of thing. So that is setting your production standards. Now, when we talk about tools of the trade, every business, online or offline, needs to have their tools of the trade. If you are online, you still have to have a quote unquote gym. You have to have somewhere that your clients are getting the things that you're teaching them, right? Whether it's, using a software where they're getting access to videos, to programming. If it's a platform where you're providing accountability, whatever it is, there has to be a hub. Just like offline, there's a gym, there's a center of action, right? And then you need a business model for you that makes sense. And typically models fall into one of 4 categories: one-on-one, semi-private, small group, or large group. And if you look at it online or offline, most of them fall into one of those 4 categories. And you need to choose the model and make sure that whatever you're doing with your model, if it's doing one-on-one, hey, if I'm working the number of hours I want to work with people one-on-one, how many people do I have to have at what price to make the money I want to make, to have the business I want to have? So we need to start with how many people we're going to serve and make sure that as we reverse engineer that with pricing, with time, with space, with equipment, with staffing, any decisions that we make allow us to have the outcome that we want employing the model that we choose. The third thing that we have to have is what I would call a management software. We have to be able to collect payments and schedule people. There are plenty of wonderful management softwares out there that do the job. We have a software system, Automatic Members, that does kind of a combination of some management and connection, but plenty of other things that are available for you. But basically, your management, at minimum, you need to be able to collect payments through some sort of online mechanism so you are not chasing checks. And people need to be able to schedule so you are not manually scheduling everything. Anything beyond that depends on the model, depends on the volume, all that stuff. But at minimum, we have to be able to check those boxes. And then our connection software, ideally, we should be able to email and text message our clients, our prospects. We should be able to communicate with them through these 2 very basic but very effective modes of communication. So we use, like I said, Automatic Members, which allows for email and text. And we provide templates and emails and all that stuff for that. But plenty of other cool things out there, like ConvertKit is another one we see a lot of clients use that I think is excellent. So you have to have this stuff in place. So before you start worrying about what's my funnel look like, what ads should I run, you have to have some infrastructure. And if you don't have infrastructure, again, you're kind of building a house on a foundation of sand. All right, we've talked about production standards. We've talked about tools of the trade. Now we need to control our time. We need to own our day. And we go into this in great deal in coaching. My wife runs a Tuesday training where we talk regularly about designing your day, and we give clients planners and all this stuff, because as a business owner, you don't have somebody telling you exactly what your schedule has to be. You don't have somebody giving you due dates on everything. You're the one who has to take responsibility for this. So the first thing that we do when we teach people what their day should look like is we outline our obligations. We outline the things that we are already committed to. If you already have clients, they're paying you. You've already made this value exchange commitment, and you said, okay, I'm going to train this person from 10 to 11 on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe you have kids and you've got to take them to school, or you've got to fix dinner or something like that. Put those things on your calendar. Go ahead and spell out what you are already obligated to. We talk a lot about, my wife coined the phrase containers of time. Those containers are full. So now, once we've done that, we know what time we have left available, so we can be a realist about what we can accomplish to move forward from where we are and not just sustain where we're at. And then once we've outlined those obligations, we see this available capacity that we have. Then we need to get clear about, what am I capable of doing? What do I have the resources to do? Whether it's money, whether it's, knowledge, whether it's assets, what can I do with this time that allows me to go from where I am to where I want to be? Because I have bootstrapped all but one business of the 37 that I've owned. And so you don't have to have incredibly deep pockets to go build this, but then that means you're probably going to have to have some time and either have knowledge or acquire knowledge. If you have some financial resources, then you can usually buy speed and trade that out. So you have to decide, what am I bringing to the table? Is it the willingness to go out and hustle and do the work? Is it that, okay, I've got a budget so I can pay somebody to run ads? You get clear about that, and there's not any one wrong answer for sure. You can approach growth however you choose, to get clear about what you have the resources to do. And then knowing what we have available time-wise, knowing what we're capable of doing with that time, we plan our priorities. We say, okay, I've got 2 hours on Monday. What am I going to do to fill that pipeline on Monday? Am I going to go do networking? Am I going to reach out to my connection database? Am I going to ask for referrals? Am I going to build a landing page or create a lead magnet? Whatever it is, be a realist. Hey, if you think something's going to take 45 minutes, then go ahead and give yourself a full hour to do it. Because a lot of times we underestimate how long things take. And so we set ourselves up to fail. We wouldn't set clients up to fail, so don't set yourself up to fail. So that's how we design our day. And I know there's way more that goes into it, but I'm giving you the whole map, whereas each step in this map probably merits a presentation by itself. All right. Now, the other foundational thing that I think is critical for us is developing what I call attraction assets. We have external attraction assets and we have internal attraction assets. External, by far the most important one for a local business, is a Google business listing. You need to have some sort of platform where if I'm looking for you, I can find you. Me being kind of ancient by industry standards, I fully remember getting Yellow Pages ads for my gyms and stuff, right? But that's where you would go look for things. You would look in the Yellow Pages to find things if you were searching for a solution. A Google business listing is that times 100, because it's fluid. You can update it. You can get reviews. You can add posts very regularly. People can learn all about you there. So if I'm looking, that's likely the first place I can find you. And even if that's not where I originate my search and I find you, that's usually, if I type in Google because somebody told me about you, like type in your business name, I'm still going to arrive at that place. So we want our Google business listing to be updated, reflective of how good we are, have reviews from happy clients, all that fun stuff. Lesser in importance, but still potentially valuable, are things like Thumbtack and Bark, where you can do postings that allow you to connect with people who are searching already, right? So you're not having to generate the interest, you're meeting people that already have the interest, right? Now that's external. And if you have an online business, I would say picking at least one social media platform where your people can be found and having a robust profile there would be kind of the equivalent of an external for that type of business. People need to be able to do their homework about you. If you're working with corporate people, then you probably need to have a pretty good LinkedIn profile, because they need to be able to go look at you and see that you are somebody they would potentially want to do business with. It may not be the thing that sells them, but it can certainly be the thing that that persuades them not to do business with you if you don't have something that's a good representation of you. Now, internally, we want a website that is, again, a positive reflection of us. And it can be super simple. You know, I referenced automatic members. You can build websites there. You can build websites with Wix and any number of inexpensive platforms. There was a point where I'd spend $5,000 to $10,000 for every website that I would have built. Now you can get them built for pennies between, you know, simple kind of builders that don't require coding knowledge, that sort of thing. Plenty of options to get a website that is just a positive reflection of you online. And then you need a lead magnet. You need something to give people in exchange for their contact information and permission to follow up with them. For me, most of the people who've arrived on my email list have downloaded one of my books. A very common one is the Fitness Entrepreneur Handbook. I use that as a lead magnet. I've seen people give away digital gift cards. We've had plenty of clients do well with that. People give away recipe guides, home workout guides, a video detailing, you know, their 3 favorite exercises for a particular body part or things that they can do on the go. Depending on who your audience is, there are literally hundreds of different options you could take with a lead magnet, but you need something that somebody will say, hey, I'll give you my contact information and permission to follow up with me in exchange for this thing. So it's just a first trade, a first impression that's a value exchange that gives you the ability to follow up with people. So those are our foundational components, right? I know I walked through them pretty quick, but I promise you want to have a solid foundation before we move into this other stuff, because if you don't have billing software and a way to schedule clients, and then you go get a bunch of leads, then you're going to spend half your time chasing payments. So we want to do things the right way. If you don't have a solid model, you may have a full schedule, but not make enough money to justify the effort and time you're putting in. So we want to make sure that we get that first foundational piece of the puzzle dialed in for sure. All right, so connect. So I divide business into 3 kind of core units that we focus on. And in some ways, it's just a way to organize your thinking. For me, I need to connect with people. I need to convert those people into clients, and then I need to coach those people. That's the 3 units that I work through. And then ultimately, we want to scale those things and grow the business that way. But those are the 3 units that we would scale. The first thing that we have to do when we connect is choose our ideal prospect. Then we have to design an irresistible offer that is really appealing to our person. We then need to fill the pipeline with connections. And then finally, once we have kind of the raw material, if you will, we want to create our offline, online lead generation plan to keep this thing moving. If we're choosing our ideal prospect and designing our irresistible offer, you know, if you know who your ideal client is, you're off to a great start. If you're not sure, just think about clients that you have, that you enjoy, that you've delivered a good result for, that you look forward to being around. And that's a pretty good place to start. People that you are equipped to help, that would want your help, that you like helping, right? So once we know who that person is, think about what their dream come true result is, right? If I were to ask you guys here, I will ask, because I know we have a couple of you in the Zoom, 12 months from now, tell me what your dream come true result would be as it relates to your business. Go ahead and give me one sentence. I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. Donna, TJ, Abe, let me know. What's your dream come true result as it relates to your business? Type it in the chat. For a lot of people, it may be adding X number of clients or Y amount of monthly revenue, or increasing your personal income by 30%. Maybe opening your own facility and serving a different population. So that's what we're looking for. We want a dream come true result. All right, perfect. Morgan wants 2 more corporate speaking gig, or TJ wants that. Yeah, 10 corporate accounts, 2 employees working with me. Abe, to be able to work virtually with 60 to 100 clients, 80 to 120K a year. Good, very good. So if this is what you want, what's great about this is the first thing that we have to ask ourselves for our ideal client is, can I help them get there? Right? And we have to have some integrity. We can't just sell people if we don't think we can actually help. Could you imagine going to the doctor and they're like, man, I can't help that person, but we're still going and trusting in them, right? So that's the first thing, right? And then the second piece of this is, what's preventing them from getting there, right? So with Abe, if there's a gap between where you are and that 60 to 100 clients and that revenue amount, we got to figure out what's the gap. If you guys want to chime in and share, that's entirely up to you. I'd love to see it. But for a lot of people, it may be, hey, you know what? I don't know how to generate the leads for the type of clients I want. I don't know how to scale to these numbers. I don't know how to hire a team and develop a team, because I may be trying to serve more people than I can personally serve. But identifying what's holding these people back, if they're our ideal client, we have to be able to say, okay, here's how I systematically solve these challenges, because we have to be able to assure that person that we got a plan to take them from where they are to where they want to be. I've got to be able to look at TJ and say, hey, here's the plan to go get 10 corporate accounts. To Abe, I got to be able to say, look, man, here's how you can generate enough leads and fill the pipeline with people who might be predisposed to doing business with you. And if you feel comfortable with these types of things, then that's what you build your offer around. You know who you're trying to help. You know what they want. You figure out a solution by which you can help them get from where they are to where they want to be. When people talk about an irresistible offer, that's basically what it is. It's saying, I can solve your problems and help you achieve your goals. And if you've struggled before, if you've fallen short before, no problem. Here's how we're going to be able to do this together, right? We've got to be clear about it. It's not just another hollow promise. It's saying, here's how we can do this. So I think that, in my mind, is the foundation of a great offer. Yeah, we can add guarantees and we can do risk reversal and pricing, figure out the right price and that sort of stuff. But you've got to be able to give them what they want before we worry about the rest. So that is ideal client, irresistible offer. Now, how do we begin filling the pipeline? The absolute foundational stuff. Odds are we already know some people that either can serve as clients, they can serve as conduits to clients, they can help us refine what we're doing. You'd be amazed at the power of what we call your connection database. If you want to meet corporate, corporate decision makers, whether they're small business leaders, HR departments in bigger businesses, whatever else, you probably, even if you don't know people that fill that criteria really well, you know people who can introduce you. You know people who work at the businesses you want. If you are trying to generate leads to fit what you're trying to do, even if, like, we'll have people say, you know what, I want to train young athletes, but I only know adults, right? They have kids, they coach kids, they are part of PTAs where there are plenty of access to other kids. There's always somebody that you know that can serve as a connector for you. You don't have to do a whole lot of cold calling if you leverage your connection. So we want to deploy what we call our connection database outreach. And I will tell you that I have been giving this advice to people for as long as I can remember. We made this part of our franchise training when I grew 2 franchises to over 275 locations. And probably 10 to 20% of people do it well. And without exception, the people who do it well get great results. And a lot of people, they try to pre-qualify up front. And they're like, this person doesn't know anybody. And the example I'll use is, so my mom works in an elementary school. My mom is 76 years old. And so if you train young athletes, you'd probably say, she's not my person. Not only is she not that person, but she's also she's not at an age where she'd have kids that would fit that. But what people wouldn't think is, wait a minute, her son is connected to every baseball coach in that county and is the biggest donor to the college baseball program. So he has access to those camps and those athletes and everything else. And it's one phone call away, right? So you don't want to assume that people can't be a source of business. Just invite them all and educate them all on what you do. And before you know it, you're going to find more opportunities than you ever thought were possible. Now, to refine this connection outreach, we like to do what we call our Connect 100. We identify 100 people that we already know or that we would like to know. And sometimes they're existing clients that we feel can be powerful influencers in the community. Sometimes they're people that have an audience that we would like to reach. It's not always people that are going to be our clients. Sometimes they may just be a bridge to our client. And then we're going to try to go have a meeting with those people. We're going to try to have a cup of coffee with them. We do what we call our 100 cups approach or our ask for advice approach. And we try to spend time meeting with those people and building relationships because, all of us, everybody watching this, everybody watching the replay, everybody, on the Zoom with me now, everybody has their own network that you can potentially be a gatekeeper of, just like Facebook is a gatekeeper of their advertising audience. And if you go out there and advocate on my behalf, or I go out to mine and advocate on your behalf, there's probably going to be some opportunities created there. So we want to identify our Connect 100 and we want to reach out to them. It is astounding to me how many people would rather skip over this step and start running Facebook ads to people that don't have a clue who they are than reach out to people who already know and trust them and start there. I've seen people that they'll go stand in line at Starbucks and stare at their phone and then go home and try to run an ad to reach the person who was in front of them in line at Starbucks, instead of just starting a conversation with them when they're 2 feet apart. So understand that you can, networking still works. We're in a personal business. We're in a relationship business. Even if, you're like TJ alluded to, wanting to work with corporate people, they're still people. Above all else, they just happen to have a common employer, right? So that's where we start with filling our pipeline with connections. Then we create our online and offline lead generation plan. We believe that there needs to be a combination, right? And I didn't really delve into referrals here much. I'll talk about that a little bit later in Coach. But some of this also is assuming that if you don't have any clients, we don't have a lot of clients to generate referrals. Now, offline, I believe that there are greater offline opportunities than there were 15 years ago in our industry, because so many people have let that pendulum swing to being very online heavy. Franchises are really becoming more and more popular, especially in the States here. And they want to do more online stuff because it's easier for them to structure and manage. And a lot of times they own advertising companies or get a kickback from advertising companies. So if they can route franchisees to use those, then they're always better off. So offline, attending networking events like Chamber of Commerce, BNI, other local affinity groups. It could be as simple as talking to people at your church, talking to people at the PTA. You know, networking is so powerful because, you know, you can expedite a relationship. Like, I've been sending daily emails for 18 years. I have tens of thousands of people on my email list. I can spend 15 minutes with somebody in person and move that relationship further faster than a year's worth of emails. So networking is hugely powerful. Strategic alliances. There are businesses and organizations that reach the people you want to reach. Health food stores, salons, spas, restaurants, you name it. But it's not just that. Like a homeowners association, they can reach the people that you want to reach, right? The PTA, if you work with parents or, you know, in a local community, I remember talking, like, the car rider line at my son's elementary school when he was there. He's in middle school now. Had over 200 cars every day sitting in it and they were a captive audience for an hour. That's somebody's target market. Somebody should be going and building a relationship with the school, with the PTA, to market to those people. Public speaking, again, used to be something a lot of people prioritize. Now most people avoid it. And so there are still plenty of opportunities, fewer people competing for them. Neighborhood marketing, everything from yard signs to sponsoring neighborhood events to door hangers to direct mail campaigns. And like, when you think about sponsoring neighborhood events, plenty of HOAs have swim teams. They have pools in the summer that you can hang signage up at. Ours, man, they do concerts and they have food trucks and that sort of stuff. There are plenty of things that you can do to be a part of that. Online, own one channel. Don't try to be great at every channel at once. Figure out one. If your people are on Instagram, try to be great at Instagram. If your people are on YouTube, go there. If your people are on TikTok, go there. If your people are on Facebook, pick one thing, be great at it, be consistent with it, and then you can start to figure out how you can replicate what worked on that next channel. Run Facebook lead ads. My recommendation is don't make direct offers on Facebook very often. Get the lead, and then on the thank you page and in the follow-up, make your offer to your programs. We don't want to have to pay to make that offer every time. If you get somebody to opt in, now we can make those offers for pennies in the follow-up instead of having to pay, you know, $2, $3, $5 every time somebody clicks. Google ads, in many cases, are probably a little bit more expensive than Facebook ads, but they're also for an audience that is shopping. Facebook ads are like running commercials during a TV show. You're kind of an interruption. Google ads, people typed in something and you're showing up for what they typed in. So it is a far more targeted ad, and it should be more expensive. So that's the Connect unit. All right, let's see. Still rolling through here. I just saw something in the chat, people joining up and joining in. Super excited about that. Hey, before I move into Convert, by the way, if you want a copy of these slides, if you want somebody from our team to walk through the map and help you figure out how you can customize it to you, just type map in the comments, whether you're on Zoom, whether you're on Facebook now, or you're watching the replay, and we'll follow up and make sure you're all taken care of. All right, so for Convert is basically taking those people that have opted in, that you've met, that you connected with, people that were on your connection database that said, hey, I'll join your free Facebook group. I'll join your email newsletter. First thing that we have to do is onboard them. And what I mean by onboard is just basically explain who we are, what we're about, how we can help. And if it's email, it's probably anywhere from 3 days to 2 weeks, depending on what you have to share. But we want to make it clear who we help, how we help them, and ideally some examples or case studies of people we have helped so they can see what's possible. And we always want to extend an invitation for people to join us. We don't want them to have to wait. If they're ready today, then we want to make it available to them. We want to show them how they can join us now. Now, I will tell you, 80% of them are not ready today. And that's fine. That's why we follow up. And frankly, people who do follow up have a huge competitive advantage. We've all heard the stale stats that you need to follow up with somebody 7 to 21 times. I would tell you that number is woefully small. It is not nearly as much follow-up. That number is very dated. That's what follow-up used to be when there weren't a million messages inundating somebody's inbox and feed every day. So you're probably going to need more like 21 to 100 follow-ups to get people to actually feel like you're the choice for them. So we want to get people introduced to us. That's onboarding. Then we coach our clients to send 3 emails a week, in most cases, at minimum 2 emails a week. And we have what we call a super signature. I did not create this. My friend and mentor, Dean Jackson, originated it, and you've probably seen it all around at certain points because Dean's super smart and people emulate him. And it's basically just saying, hey, P.S., whenever you're ready, here's how we can help. And it's just like a billboard that runs at the bottom of your email to create more awareness about what you do. So people don't have to search around and figure out how you can help. So it's just keeping it in front of them. And if you feel like that's too pushy or too salesy, it's 156 times a year, but the average person is not reading every one of your emails. I can tell you that the people that, like when I drive by Chick-fil-A or whatever else, they don't take down their billboard or their marquee in front of the store and only put it up there a couple days a week because it's too much for you. Like, good businesses stay in front of their prospects so their prospects can come when they're ready. And so we want to stay in front of people. We want to keep their attention. The SMS strategy, my recommendation is we're following up with people early on every other day for the first week or two. And then after that, once or twice a month, we want to reach out. People have a higher open rate with text messaging. So understand that's both a blessing and a curse. It means that you're probably going to get more of your stuff read, but you're probably going to be more bothersome if everything that you send is a pitch. So just be consistent and try to start conversations. And then finally, with Convert, deploy 3 different ways to create conversion opportunities. So I walked through a lot of that. Like I said, the onboarding, email, and text. We're trying to do, we recommend more than every 3 to 14. Like I said, 14 to 21 every other day. Install the 3 times a week email, SMS. And then how do we convert people? How do we take those people that we're following up with? There are 3 different ways we can do it. If you need more volume, invite people in as guests. Let them come experience what you do. A lot of people are hesitant to do anything for free. I would tell you that in many cases, free is your best sales opportunity, because if what you do is truly better and different, the easiest selling point is to get people to experience it. People say, hey, I don't want to devalue this or whatever else. I was at Costco yesterday. They give away free samples all the time, and they wouldn't be doing it if it didn't make them money. Like, giving somebody a sample is not devaluing it. In fact, it's probably increasing the value in my perspective. It's increasing value solely because there's likely nothing you can type in an email about it that gives the same understanding of how valuable and how different it is actually experiencing it. If I want to go buy a new car, somebody could write a couple paragraphs about how awesome driving the car is, or they could just let me drive the car and I could see how awesome driving the car is. So don't be afraid to invite people in as guests. If you need to throttle how many you have because you don't want too many guests at once, then just make guests a thing that you do a couple times a year for the people who haven't bought, or guests come as guests of clients, so they're only referrals, so it has some exclusivity. You don't have to have the guest door open 365 days a year. You can have it being kind of velvet roped throughout, but understand that guests are a wonderful conversion opportunity driver. Deadline-driven offers. There are 3 different types of deadline-driven offers. One is enrollment closing, right? So if there's a challenge starting on Monday and we close enrollment on Friday, the deadline is because enrollment is closing. There's a fear of missing out, right? The second is the price is increasing. So there is the fear of losing money. The third is a bonus expires. Now you can use each of these as a standalone, or you can use them in some sort of bundle, but all 3 of them are potentially powerful, right? We see cosmetic stores like Sephora do great with gift with purchase. That's a bonus. So having deadline-driven offers are great to get people who've been thinking about it to make a decision instead of procrastinating. And then evergreen offers are things that we put in front of people with great regularity. Whenever they're ready, they can do it on their timeline. We see that a lot with 28-day jumpstart programs or 12-week transformation programs or whatever else. Things that somebody can enroll in on their timeline. And then coach. You know, we've got plenty of people in this industry who are better at the mechanics of delivering a great training session or how to manage somebody's nutrition than me. So I'm not going to get into that part of it. I'm going to talk about what sets us apart from people who just deliver workouts, which is frankly what a lot of the franchised side of the fitness industry has become. First and foremost, people don't buy just workouts. They buy what they believe workouts are giving them. So if we're selling results, we actually have to deliver the results if we want to stand out, because most people just host workouts. The second thing that we have to do is what we call the other 165. We teach the other 165 very regularly, and it's what happens between supervised training sessions. Some of this is accountability. Some of this is connection. Some of this is nutritional support. Some of this is just building relationships. But it's helping people understand that if you're their coach, you're always their coach, not just when they walk through your front door. And then finally, inside out marketing, which we'll talk about referrals here. So delivering results and not just workouts. Understand that we have kind of a unique industry in that if I go to get a haircut, at the end of in my case, with as little hair as I have, at the end of 9 minutes, I have a haircut. Transaction done, right? Haircut over, I paid them. You go to a restaurant, you get a meal, you pay. It is a real-time, rapid transaction. In ours, people come to us saying the result they want is something that usually can't be achieved today. How do we still get them where they want to go, but give them some sort of immediate gratification? We have to win each day. A lot of times people come to us because they want to be happier and feel better. And they believe that losing weight, they believe that fitting into different clothes, whatever their objective may be, factors into that. And that will help them arrive at that place. You can make them happy today. You can make them feel important and valued and appreciated today. You can celebrate their accomplishments today. They can leave with that sense of accomplishment today. Solve the problems, the things that have held them back in the past. Be attentive when people say, this is why this didn't work for me or whatever else. be attentive, solve the problems they have, and help them win each and every day. The other 165, like I said, it's accountability, nutrition, and connection. It's not just checking in with people when they miss a training session. In fact, it's the opposite of that. They know that they missed. What they don't want to do is feel even more guilty about it. They want a coach who's going to help them turn it around and not miss twice in a row. They want somebody who cares about their results. Okay. The nutrition coaching stuff, supporting them on the decisions they're making outside the gym, helping them be active during the other 165 hours. One of my favorite things about the career journey I've had is the fact that I have coached literally thousands of people, and there is rarely a day and never a week that goes on that people that I coached over 20 years ago, I'm not having a call, conversation, text message, seeing in person, any of that stuff with. I can show you a text message that happened. I think it wrapped up, 12:52. We started at 1 Eastern, right? With somebody that I haven't coached since 2001. And that's it. If you were somebody's coach, you're their coach. Otherwise, it's just a transaction. And then inside out marketing. Once you have clients, it should be relatively straightforward about multiplying clients. The first thing that you have to do, keep the ones you have, right? Maybe the most important thing we can learn is to keep the ones we have. As a former college baseball coach, recruiting your current players so that the juniors become seniors and the sophomores become juniors is every bit as important, if not more important, than getting the brand new, highly touted freshmen. So retention is a big deal. Referrals. Your clients, if they're your ideal person, they probably know other people who have some resemblance to them, some similar interests, some, geographically, if you're training in person, they can, probably live close enough that it would still work for them from a convenience standpoint, shared interests, all that fun stuff. Reviews. We talked about Google in the beginning and the foundational side of this. You need to ask clients for reviews so that your Google business listing shows up higher up the feed so that people can see that, yes, you are somebody they should consider as the path to reaching their goals. And then reconnection. Look, we would love people to stay with us in perpetuity. Like, hey, you sign up, you stay with me for the next 20 years, but people's lives get busy. Their schedules change. They move, they get different responsibilities. If they leave and leave on good terms, stay in touch with them. That doesn't mean pitch them every 3 months. It means say, hey, how's your summer going? They know what you do. And if you stay in touch with them and genuinely care about them, they're going to be more likely to come back and see you when they are ready to join. All right. So I have covered way too much ground. That's a lot. It is a bunch in a short period of time. And I understand that probably precludes us from going super deep on any of it. So if you want our team to walk through this with you one-on-one, comment map below, comment whether it's on Facebook, whether it's in the Zoom, happy to walk you through some of this. If you want the slides, just comment map. We can get to slides too. But the idea here is simple. Even if I covered a lot of ground to get there, lay a solid foundation, consistently connect with new people, invite them to experience what you have to offer, and then do a great job when you get them. But we have to break that down in practical, tangible steps. If you do that, you can build a wonderful business in this industry. I've had so many clients. We had a mastermind meeting last week, and there were a couple guys that were there that were like, what should I do now? And I'm like, are you happy? Are you making the amount of money you want to make? Is the business going the way? They're like, man, everything's exactly what I wanted when I joined the program. Then you probably just need to celebrate it and be happy for a little bit and enjoy it, right? Like, it's possible. It is very possible. And sometimes we don't understand that as business owners, that we can get there. But you got to have a plan, and you got to work the plan just like clients have to work the plan you provide to them. This is so much like that. It's crazy, but we kind of disassociate the two. All right, Morgan, any questions for me before we wrap this thing up?
So Abe actually said generating leads and creating advertisements is going to be the biggest struggle. He's at the point of where he needs to create them. So for him, where would be that first stepping stone he should take? I know he jumped on off, but I'm going to send him the replay. But I thought it'd be a good question for everybody who don't know what that first step may be.
Probably get on a call so we can find out who those leads are, where you would find them, what kind of lead magnet would be appealing to those people, because it's not the same for everybody, right? Like I could say, hey, go run this ad, but on what platform? What are you advertising? Like we have to give somebody something that's going to get them to stop and say, wait a minute, that person's speaking specifically to me, because if you don't, then they're just going to scroll on by because it's not going to be specific enough to them. Yeah, that would be my recommendation. Just hop on a call with somebody and we'll try to customize the answer to the person, because that's what a lot of us probably need, is a little bit of customization, because our situations are different, right? We got different goals, we got different target markets, we've got different models. The offers that we're making clearly are going to be different. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Awesome. I guess the question that popped up for me was Google business page. I'm a virtual business. So is that something I should still create? And are you able to do that if you don't have a physical location? And is that maybe
to do it if you don't have a physical location? That doesn't mean you couldn't have a physical location. Even if you're not delivering a service in person, you could probably create a physical location if people locally could still be your client, even if it's a virtual service.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Fitness Business School. Before you go, I have a quick announcement. One of the things that we've been doing with our current clients is taking them through this ideal business diagnostic. And really what it is, this checklist that allows you to pinpoint exactly what your business needs next, so you can keep improving, keep growing, and build a business that you love to own. One that pays you well, one that allows you to have the impact you want to have, and one that allows you to have a lifestyle that you truly enjoy. In this diagnostic, we walk through everything and we do an evaluation and can instantly pinpoint what you need to do next to build that business that you want. I'm going to extend this opportunity to get on with either me or my team and take you through this evaluation and fix your business's most vital needs fast. So if we take you through this, you're going to be able to make those vital changes that you need to finally have what I call your ideal business. If you'd be interested in going through this entirely free, risk-free diagnostic with us and learn what you already have in place, what you're doing well, and where your greatest opportunities for rapid improvement are, just shoot me an email with diagnostic in the subject line to pat@patrigsby.com. Again, an email to pat@patrigsby.com with diagnostic in the subject line will get you scheduled and take you through this evaluation to help you build the business you want.